Morning, Matt.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all today. My name is Matthew Hoey. This is my third Global Network Conference, second time presenting. A little bit of background info on me. Lifelong Massachusetts resident. I got my start working in the field of arms control when I was blessed with the opportunity to meet Dr. Randall Forsberg. I had a chance to work with her. October will be 4 years since her passing. Still have a lot to learn from her teachings. Since then, I've worked as a consultant to the United States government on future military threats and emerging technology. Most recently for Dr. Ray Kurzweil, forecasting the future of military technology, and I'm currently a consultant for the Secure World Foundation. When I was pondering what the theme was going to be for my talk, I thought that I would dovetail it with what the mission was at the vigil yesterday. And from my perspective, I believe that part of it was to try to bring to the attention of some of the employees at Raytheon, try to get them to possibly give a little bit of thought in that moment about where are these technologies ending up, where are these missile defense systems ending up, what impact does it have on foreign countries. And we're not far from that Raytheon facility. We're also not far from Raytheon IDS, which is in Tewksbury, Integrated Defense Systems. That's the hub for a lot of missile defense manufacturing and R&D. So my talk is based on where we live in our backyard in Cambridge, Massachusetts. We live very close to Raytheon BBN. For those of you who aren't familiar with BBN was both Beranek and Newman. That was the company that created the ARPANET, the pioneers that helped to create the internet.
Matt, could you try to speak a little clearer? I have a problem understanding you, sorry.
Okay. So Raytheon BBN is in our backyard. They conduct research on various technologies, some of which I'm going to go over here with you today. But you'll see the theme here. It seems kind of scattered, but I'll tie it all in for you. Space technology, terrestrial systems, and you see social justice, political activism, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. And you say, well, how do these all connect? Now, when I gave my talk, they connect in a way that may be unexpected. When I gave my talk last year, it was on dual-use technology. Now, when we talk about dual-use technologies, we're talking about a technology that clearly has two applications, and it manifests itself in two different ways. Now, imagine for yourself a military-to-military dual-use technology. Now, that would be, for instance, let's imagine a lift vehicle that would launch a military satellite into space. Or some people would fear, well, that same technology could be used to launch a conventional nuclear warhead. There we see a picture of President Ahmadinejad with what he considers to be a space launch vehicle, where others consider it to be an ICBM that could threaten Israel, or a ballistic missile. Well, the other manifestation of dual use is commercial to military dual use, which would be a dual use technology with a distinct, peaceful commercial application that could benefit mankind. They also have applications that can be destructive and can be used on the battlefield. Now, there's a new type of dual use that we're going to talk about today, and it was a bit of kind of epiphany for me. It's a dual use that isn't a commercial dual use that benefits industry and then can be used on the battlefield in a foreign country. This is a dual use that is a technology that can be used on the battlefield in a foreign country, but can also be used here at home. And that's where the threat to the political activists and the dissidents and pacifists come into play. And I'm going to highlight some technologies that are being manufactured by Raytheon about an eighth of a mile from our house in Cambridge. And these technologies, now, we're all familiar with, and this is a space-focused conference, so we're all familiar with, well, for those who aren't familiar with it, but this is the Standard Missile-3. This is manufactured in Raytheon IBS in part, and also here in Andover, Raytheon. But this is actually the missile defense system that is used to shoot down US-193. That was the anti-satellite test that the United States conducted in 2008. It was fired from an Aegis destroyer. For those of us who are following the situation in Korea, with the Global Network, our colleague McGregor Eddie is there. These are the ships that are most likely going to be docked off of Jeju move on should a military base be built there. But this is a dual-use technology with a distinct military application, also space missile defense application, but also anti-satellite capability. So, but now I'll get to the new dual-use, kind of calling dual-use version 2.0. So at Raytheon, BBN, one of the technologies that I came across is called the BBN Web Monitoring System. Now, imagine for yourself a system where all of the open source information available on the internet today across blogs, IM, web postings, news articles, the keywords could be data mined, analyzed, fused. Imagine a bit of a scorch the internet campaign of gathering and gobbling up as much data as possible, looking for keywords. And now let's say that, clearly this would be a technology that's going to be used for national security. In the war on terrorism, is somebody talking on the internet about conducting a terrorist attack at a train station? So the intelligence services would use an application like this. What makes the BBN web monitoring system special is it can scorch foreign languages. So it's able to gather data in a variety of languages, a variety of web platforms. It's a more versatile application. So what are the implications for privacy rights? What are the implications for the activists? This is a new dual-use technology version 2.0. It can be used in the war on terrorism, it can be used in the battlefield, but can also be used here at home. And we need to give some thought to what impact does this have on my life? When we look at the events that are taking place in North Africa, the Middle East with dissent, and the role that Facebook and Twitter and social networking is playing in enabling these people to organize and rally against their government, topple the Mubarak regime, that's playing up before our eyes. The vehicle for this activism is social networking websites, and any changes that we make here in the US and Canada to abolish nuclear weapons or to fight for peace, our vehicle for change is social networking websites. And will this technology ever be used to impede our progress or to crack down on our dissidents? So, but that's a cybersecurity dual-use application. This, of all of the technologies that I've come across in the past couple of years, the Silent Guardian program is one of the most disturbing. The Silent Guardian program has been built by Raytheon, in particular the incoming CEO of Raytheon India, William Blair, as the non-lethal alternative to the rubber bullet, tear gas, and the fire hose. Now imagine the riots in Birmingham during the Civil Rights Movement and the imagery. We all visualize those images here today. The Silent Guardian system casts millimeter wave energy. Now what you have is this unit here would be based on the back of a Humvee, and it would be brought into an area of civil unrest. Now that ray on the top of the unit would be coming off of the top of the Humvee. Now off of that ray, imagine an area which is referred to as the envelope. All of you here within the envelope, should you be entering an area where you shouldn't be entering, should authorities say to you that we want you to clear the area, this is what's going to bring you to your knees. Now, you can resist the rubber bullet, you can fight the tear gas, you can stand before the fire hose. The effects of the Silent Guardian system has been described by military officials who have, one book in particular we're checking out is called E-Bomb, which revealed a lot of the developmental details and the testing details. The military officers who subjected themselves to this system described it as a feeling of being set on fire. In the desert, when military officials were experimenting with Silent Guardian, it was funded by the United States Marines. Nobody made it beyond 14 seconds, and that was only one person in particular. Basically what it does is it gives the sensation that your body has been set on fire. It cooks 1/64 of an inch below the surface in the subcutaneous layer of your skin. There is no resisting. Dissent is crushed. You leave the area. It's over. Now, this technology had originally been built as a new version 2.0 dual-use technology to be used in the battlefield, but to also be used here at home in the event of riots, civil unrest. Clearly, there's been a lot of outrage. I mean, you would imagine who would accept such a thing in the United States. So, with no market here in the United States, Raytheon and Raytheon BBN, IDS, who also took part in the development of the technology, are realizing we need to go overseas, we need to peddle this somewhere else. And right now, the most likely purchaser of this technology is India. But the thing is once we begin to see this technology working in a battlefield or working in a war zone, people are going to begin to accept it, that it saved the city or prevented this riot. And I want to make sure that I'm cautious of the time here, but just to give you an idea as to even how some in the military feel about Cyber Guardian, this was deployed in Afghanistan, but because of the Karzai government expressing their concern about it and that there were human rights violations, the United States military pulled this out of Afghanistan. The technology is not going away. We're going to find it. Well, Raytheon is going to find a buyer for it. The most likely buyer for it is India. It was on display at the Bangalore Air Show, where prospective buyers